Welcome in, everybody. I am your host, Matt Novak. Alongside me for the first time in a while, my
That's right.
co-host, Grant Hawker.
How we doing, folks?
It has been a minute.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the saddle.
Oh, man. Christmas got the best of us. Just some life stuff going on. Appreciate you and Jameson dropping an episode
Yeah.
and watched the video the other day on Chino that we've got posted live. That was a great cut up.
Thank
Some
you.
good content. And then I loved this week. I know you've been putting out some clips on past stuff that has been said on the show. It's like sometimes we have a magic 8 ball.
Sometimes we know what we're talking about, and if you want to know what we talk
Sometimes
about, go watch our shorts this past week. We are prophesying out here. The NFL.
absolutely. Football Prophecy 101 done in September of 24. I do believe the majority of us were all on board for the AFC Championship that we saw. I do believe that most of us felt strongly about the Eagles. Nobody saw the Commanders coming to the NFC Championship game. And
No,
when I say nobody,
no.
I mean the Commanders didn't see the Commanders coming to the NFC Championship game.
I think some people had them as fringy playoff teams, and I thought that was generous. I really
Yeah,
did. I was
agree.
like, that's a bold take. But holy cow.
4 to 10 wins is a jump. 4 to
Yeah.
12.
Yeah. And if you
That's
include playoffs, that's what, 14?
Yeah. And I think rightly, as you've said in our text thread, I'm not trying to jump down a
Yep.
rabbit hole right away, but that's coach of the year material on
Absolutely.
8 win swing. Absolutely. And I don't even know, honestly. You could make a case for Sirianni. You can always make a case for Reed. I don't know who else you'd give it to.
Earlier
Uh,
this year, I had said Harbaugh when they were playing pretty good, and they've made a good jump. They were at 5 wins. They got to 11.
he's
Um,
speaking of course, the one in California,
yes, yes,
the
yes.
Jim, not the John.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, but yeah, it should go to Dan Quinn. It should be unanimous. Dan Quinn all the way. Did an incredible job. Put together a heck of a coaching staff. Um, yeah, he deserves it all. Made all the right choices. He never lost them a game, and that's a thing we always hear about when a coach loses a game. But he made all the right choices with clock management. He's been in the NFL for a long time. He's been a head coach before, taking a team to a Super Bowl. Yeah, he should win Coach of the Year. Absolutely.
Absolutely. I mean, love the gutsy calls.
Yeah,
You got to be willing to put it on the line. And Dan Quinn in big moments, not at all excluding a fourth down punt fake on his own 30-yard line this
yeah,
last week. So I was always willing to do it and always say, look, we're going to play to win
yeah,
regardless. And man, what a tough football team that needs some obvious defensive help.
yeah.
Having Payne not available for the NFC Championship game certainly hurt them in the middle. I mean, Saquon's going to play Saquon ball for sure.
Yeah.
But the middle was not good without Payne there.
It was not good. I mean, and this team was ahead of schedule, right? Like we
Yeah,
said, they weren't supposed to be
yeah,
here. Maybe a playoffs, maybe win 9 games, 8, 9 games. And it's clear, and we had said this throughout the year, this defense has been a liability. And I think
absolutely.
this is a team that was it just proves, man, if you just get hot, you can ride a style of play for a long time, but you have to be complete. If you really want to hang, you have to be
Yeah,
complete. You have to.
yeah, and realistically, if you look at the weapons that these two teams have, I mean, I have no problem saying this right now, because I think he proved it over the course of the season. But you have a quarterback edge going to Washington over the
Yeah.
Eagles here. He played better than Hurts did most of the season.
Yeah.
Um,
He was the
and
reason they won games. It
bingo.
was him. Yeah. That's the
Uh,
difference.
but I would say, clearly from the receiving core, um, perspective, the Eagles have the better overall receiving core, but Scary Terry is still, for some stupid reason, one of the most overlooked wide receivers in the league, and it makes
Well,
no
and
sense.
Cliff Kingsbury pretty much transformed him into a yak guy.
Yeah.
Like he was primarily a possession guy for most of his career and a great one. But ball in his hands, this dude's as good as they
Well,
get.
and
Like,
we were saying it last year and the year before. You'd watch him, and we've, as fantasy owners, we've loved picking up Scary Terry because of his consistency over the years. But we would say all the time, I mean, this dude's having to beat a double team consistently. They have nothing taking it
Yeah.
away from him. And, bringing on Ertz, who's great in possession, was super helpful. Having a sustained running game, whether that was Johnson or Eckler when they got up close,
I
or
was
Eckler on
shocked
third
Eckler's
downs.
played as good as he did this year. Like I thought this dude was washed.
Yeah, and he was fantastic in the red zone.
Yeah.
Stole some touches from Robinson in the red zone, and then the development of other receivers alongside of him has just been so helpful. But you're right, the space that he created for Scary Terry was awesome. But again, I'd still give the receiver edge and clearly the running back edge. But you can't look at that team and say that offense is all that much behind the Eagles. There are some things that you need to do. They need the second receiver. You got to get younger at tight end overall, but Ertz has proved that he can still do work.
Over
In the short
700
game.
yards and like 6 touchdowns. Dude,
Abs
that's elite.
fantastic.
That can be elite for a tight end with
Yeah,
how
well,
how
and
that
this
pans out.
year, this
Yeah.
year that was that. He
Yeah.
was around that 5 to 7 space for a good chunk of the year. Certainly a fringe top tenor. And I think that going forward, as Daniels develops, that is just it's going to be a great team. You are looking at a Lamar 2.0 scenario, and I would not have said that at all at the beginning of the year. But one guy on this podcast did, and I want to give Jameson credit
Yeah.
because he jumped up and called that from the beginning.
Hats off.
Yep, absolutely. But no, it's so much fun to watch, and we were definitely all rooting for them on Sunday. I know our podcast was 100% in that camp this weekend. But no, I just think that they have a little bit of a talent gap to close, even on the offensive side of the ball, but they
Mhm.
are certainly comparable. And because of the quarterback edge that I would currently give to Jaden Daniels, no problem saying that. And then, but that defensive side of the ball, you just got to get better. You got to get
Yeah.
better. You got to have a corner that's opposite Lattimore, who, by the way, needs to go get some therapy or something. Bro needs to calm down. Like, I know
Yeah.
that's been his whole career, him going after Mike Evans, him going after whomever, but legitimately, like, calm down, dude. Get a second corner. You've got to get more athletic at linebacker.
Mhm.
No,
Bobby
no
had a
hate
good
on
year.
Bobby had a
Year.
good year, but man, he cannot cover anybody.
Yeah. Yep.
So first and second down is all you really want to have him out there for, and he's a liability in coverage on third, and that's just obvious. But overall, like, they just got some pieces to collect. Dan Quinn will right that ship going into this draft. I absolutely believe that. And what's more awesome is Washington has become a destination for free agents. Who
Dude,
doesn't want to play for that team?
I was feasting on the reports. I don't know if you saw it, that Dan Snyder is furious with the
Oh,
team's
oh,
success.
I
Did you
read
see
that
that?
whole article.
Oh,
That ESPN
like
article is
again,
fantastic.
couldn't have happened to a better guy for
Yeah.
the he gets out of the organization and they're in an NFC championship, winning their first playoff games in 20 years. Also so happy for the fan base. Like that's one of those things. They're a fan base that's loyal, have been through the worst with all the noise, their stadium falling apart, falling on themselves, like the
Oh,
stadium
yeah.
falling on themselves, like leaking water, the rails giving out and like almost crushing. I think it was like Jalen Hurts or something in like a game a couple years ago. Like,
Oh, where that piece fell down.
yeah, well,
Yeah,
like
and
the
they had to
fans,
pause for a minute. Yep.
yeah, dude, just absolute chaos. That stadium literally beating them up. So super happy for Commanders fans. Good,
Yes.
seems like a solid fan base.
This is what
They've
we were hoping would happen when we were declaring to sell the team.
yeah,
When we started this podcast 4 seasons ago, we were declaring it. Please sell this team. You
yeah,
are an embarrassment. You are garbage.
yeah,
Couldn't not be happier for a fan base.
yeah,
They deserve this one.
absolutely.
100% they did. And we're all big proponents of Dan Quinn. Love the style. Love who he is as a coach. I thought he put together an insane staff, like you just mentioned. And I just saw today Kingsbury's going to stick around.
Yeah.
He decided not to go down to New Orleans. That's super cool.
I don't know why
And that
you'd
says
want
a
to.
lot about. Yeah, well, yeah, no
Yeah.
kidding. With the contracts they have,
Yeah.
the finances the way that they are in that place, and the amount of veterans that they don't have a choice but to bite a bullet on.
It's easily the worst. It was out of all the openings, it was usually the worst spot. That and the Jets, the two worst spots.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, if the Panthers was open, I'd still I'd still
Yeah.
say that was brutal. But no, I mean, like, remember, Washington got Lattimore this year, and New Orleans is carrying a $20 million bill on that guy.
Yep.
Like, they're still paying him, and Washington had him all the way into that NFC
Yeah.
Championship game. But no, good for them. Bummer on how that game turned out this weekend. Barkley again just having his way. They could not be stopped. I gotta say, Mike in our group thread, Mike, who contributes to the show, both as writer and the occasional guest, was talking about how the turnover battle just absolutely doomed him. I mean, it was 3 fumbles and an interception. The score is indicative of that.
Yep.
You lose the turnover battle 0-4, and that's what happens. That's
that
NFL ball.
and the Eagles capitalized on every single turnover and turned it into 28 points.
Yep.
That's 4 touchdowns. It's 4 touchdowns.
They did their job. 100%. But it was kind of telling. Like, I had to listen to that game, or part of that game. I eventually got to watch it. But I was coming back from an event this weekend, and I turned the radio on as the game starts. So as the Eagles get their first possession there, and or at the beginning, dude, to hear Barkley go 60 to the house, I went, oh, it's over now.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
yeah. And the Commanders still
cool.
tried to fight, but
Sure.
it really was over.
They made it a 1-score game at one point there. I think that was in the second quarter.
But they could not stop this Eagles offense. It didn't honestly matter because Jalen Hurts also ran for 3 touchdowns. So did Barkley. They could move whenever they wanted. They turned the ball over, the big third downs they needed. The Eagles really had no issue at all.
And Hurts played probably, I'd say, just his best game of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And again was opportunistic. They ended up with the ball. 3 of those 4 turnovers were on the Commander side of the field. So, short field, did a great job with the opportunities given. Good win for them. Then on the other side of this weekend, we had what we all hoped would not happen. For the love of God.
Yeah.
Why can no one beat the Chiefs? I have so many plays that I'll ask you this question.
Okay.
Because I believe
I have some stuff to say too.
But I believe that you're level-headed like me. Okay? In the sense that we're going to see both sides of the coin. All right? As much as we will rant and rave about certain things, we can both take a breath and go, okay, this is real, this is not.
Yeah.
I kind of believe. I kind of believe in the conspiracy. I got to say, that call against Josh Allen, how
4th and 1?
in God's name? Yeah. How do you call?
Dude.
How do you call it? How do you sleep at night knowing that everybody's going to think what we think right now, unless you're just good with it, unless you're in on it? Like, this feels, I don't mean to be a weirdo.
Yeah, I get it.
It feels kind of real.
I don't know. I've watched the play. Most of us have seen the play. The 4th and 1 stuff, right? I'll be honest. I don't see what everybody else is seeing here. I don't think that there is something clear that shows him cross the line. I don't think
Did you see the clip today?
The clip today? I don't know about. Is it a different clip than what's been going around?
So there is a shot. Somebody's got to put it in slow. Which, everybody knows this, but New York's watching it in 8K.
Yeah,
and they can go down to the millisecond.
And I believe this was within
like,
the 2 minutes, so everything is reviewable.
Right, it literally goes like this. Full speed is going so stinking slow right in front of them, and you can see the ball across what they say first down is, and it's plain as day. You can see the entire football on the other side, in that, and it's.
I haven't seen that one. I haven't seen that one. I've seen the one that's on TV that most people see, and honestly, I don't, because again,
from that perspective, I get why you feel that way.
The whole rule has always been, over the last 5-6 years, it's been, is it enough to overturn the call on the field? That's always the rule. Is it enough? Because if it's a toss-up, usually it goes just whatever they stuck with on the field. And from that angle, I'll be honest, I don't see it. I don't see something clear. Again, to me, it's a toss-up. Does he get it? Maybe. Does he not? Maybe not, because also the Chiefs stuffed him 3 times on these plays. 3 times they stuffed him, which is also the most that we have seen on the most run stuffs against sneaks in a game the next gen stats era.
I'd say currently, best interior defensive lineman sitting on the other side, and that's huge. Every
Oh,
time
well,
you
yeah.
saw him getting touched in the backfield, Josh
Yeah.
Allen getting touched in the backfield, Chris Jones's hand
Yeah.
was on that dude, or he was
Mhm.
shoving somebody into Josh
And
Allen.
I struggle. I mean, so I hugely struggle with the play call. I hugely struggle with how they
I don't
handled that drive.
I get it.
James Cook didn't get the ball once on that drive.
Agree.
Not once.
Yeah,
And he has
that's
had
not
it and
good. He was
he's had an
killing him.
killing him, and it's had a great year altogether.
Yeah,
And every time they decided to just do that, and it was the same sneak to the same side of the ball, same side of the field.
that's fair.
And I go, dude,
They're not going to do it 3 times in a row.
are you?
Yeah,
And
yeah, they
and
are.
and obviously there's some Dalton Kincaid had a missed catch there.
Got to
That
catch that ball.
you got to catch that ball. The Josh Allen did not catch. Was it Mac Hollins or whatever? Like doing the little motion out, the wing out, number
Oh,
10.
yeah,
He
that's
was wide
fair.
open there as well. Like I get the conspiracy, but if you're gonna look at it just by the rules of the game, by how it played out, they didn't get the 1 yard they needed.
Yeah, I would also. I mean, if you're a conspiracy nut, and we've all been looking at the stats about the Chiefs in the playoffs, we've seen that they have 30 less penalties called on them in the last 12 games as compared to their opponents. Some people would just say, "Well, they're playing clean football," but
Well,
there's a lot of evidence on that one. And then I would also say that even when they're getting it called, like in this game, there were 6 penalties called on the Bills. There was 5 called on the Chiefs. No issue with that. That's great. The 5 penalties called on the Chiefs amounted to 21 yards gained. The 6 penalties on the Bills was, I believe, was 67 yards
okay,
in this game. And it's little things like that. You're like, hey, they are calling penalties. Well, they're calling the penalty, but look at the yardage. There's all. Not only is it a 30 penalty gap between them and their opponents in the last 12 games, it's a 350-yard gap in the last 13 games, taking
sure.
this one into account. And that's significant. You're talking over 10 yards
Mhm.
Per penalty there that's being credited to the other team in difference. So I look at some of that stuff, and that's why I don't mean to sound like a conspiracy nut,
Sure.
but it's getting really loud out here.
It is.
Everybody's saying the same thing.
Well, and I think did you see Gene Sterator's like tweet he posted out there like before the game, pretty much like imploring the officials to like, bro, if it's tic tac, don't do it. And I think for the most part they did that. Like only
I
11
agree.
penalties
They
all
let
game.
them play through a lot. I
Yeah.
mean, and it did at times go both ways in that regard. I did see. I made a comment to you guys in our text thread about 2 missed block in the backs and a hold on what amounted to be the longest special teams play of the game. That
Yeah.
run up the side. I'm going to forget the player's name. It was not worthy. That ran up the side there on the left for the Chiefs. And I mean, he did a great job running, but you can literally see 2 blocks in the back and an
Sure.
obvious hold on his shoulder.
Yeah.
Dude getting dragged to the ground. So I saw that, and it was just where it happened. It's always that's my thing with
Yeah.
it, and why I believe some of the conspiracy stuff, or I've let it get into my head, is because it's where it happens. But to the credit, great game overall. I'll get out of my head for a moment. Great game overall. You made an excellent point here in our thread. First time Kansas City scored 30 points all year, or over 30. Sorry,
yeah,
all year.
and that's also where I go. Like the Bills didn't show up to play. The Chiefs hadn't been able to score 30 points. They struggled against the Texans.
Yes,
They struggled to get the ball moving, and this is the first time they score over 30 is against this Bills team. I get some of the calls, but I look at the totality of the game and I'm like, yeah, there's 100%. The Bills also did not show up when they needed to. I mean, the opening drive, Josh Allen almost threw 2 picks.
Yeah,
like right away.
Well, and I would say one of them was a receiver turned wrong way scenario.
Yeah,
I went back and watched that.
I think of that too. I just think of, oh shoot, I think I just completely lost. I just lost my thought 100%. It's gone, and it was a good point, and I'm upset.
Hey, listen, I'm the old one here. That's what's supposed to happen. Okay, the old guy is supposed to do that.
Oh no, got it.
You got it.
Got it. Ha, you're still old. So
shut your stupid face.
The whole thing about playing clean football, they said it in this game too. The Chiefs absolutely have played clean football because this is also the first turnover they had since they've met the Bills this season. So that's what, 10 weeks or so. So like
Yeah,
this whole like them
good
playing
call.
clean football, it's happening both in the turnover thing and also in penalties. Those are the two ways you decide what clean football is. And they're doing
Absolutely.
that. So like, dude, they have the this is the Belichick Brady thing. They have the two most important things: coach and quarterback. And it's above everybody else. And so it doesn't matter. Like legitimately. I know the Patriots got these complaints too about them getting these calls.
Yep.
And they did. And I think they did. And I think the Chiefs do get these calls. But at the same time, what do those two have? The greatest coach and the greatest quarterback we've ever seen. And they have that currently. Best
I,
head coach, best quarterback.
I love the quote from DeMeco Ryans this last week. In his end of the year presser, he was talking about the Chiefs, and he goes, "Listen, man, it's known around the league. You have to beat them by 10 to 13 points. You can't
Yeah.
beat them by a score.
Nope.
It's impossible." And he goes, because they have the best quarterback in late game scenarios in the NFL. And Brian said maybe of all time, I mean, obviously I have the opinion that it's not a maybe. He's the best quarterback at the end of games and in moments ever. And it's because he hasn't messed up yet. Like if you look at this dude's career, we're looking at Super Bowl.
Never
How many?
once as
We're looking at
five.
we're looking at 5 Super Bowls and an AFC Championship game when he didn't make it to the Super Bowl. Like that's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
And
Not
so
once have we seen him not get it. Like not once have been like, oh, Patrick Mahomes didn't get it that time.
yeah,
That's never been a sentence uttered
yeah.
of
I mean,
anybody.
and if you remember, I mean, Tom Brady's swan song with the Bucks, he just dismantled the Chiefs. I mean, that game fell over at halftime.
Hmm.
You know,
That defense
and
also just put him through the ringer.
yep,
That was a great Bucks team.
it absolutely
Talented.
was, and they put it together for 1 year and got it done. But like, you look at the other scenario in which he wasn't in the Super Bowl was because of Joe Burrow and a very healthy Bengals team that we fully believe will come back strong next year.
Yeah.
And I had a great run at the end of the season. But I mean, that's it. He lost to Tom Brady and he lost to Joe Burrow. That's the only 2 quarterbacks that he has lost to in postseason play at all. I mean, dude,
Not a bad list, bro.
It's ridiculous.
That's
So
not a bad list.
and he's knocked down Josh Allen 3 times.
Yep.
3 times. I mean,
Lamar Jackson once, maybe twice. I don't know. I can't remember.
yeah,
This
it might be 2 times. But I mean, you just look at the people that he's beating. Like, if you want to be in the Super Bowl and you're a quarterback and you got a contract that you need to consider, you might want to switch over to the NFC so you got a shot for a while. I mean, if you're in there right now,
to at least be on the same field as that trophy at some point.
because he's 29 years old, guys.
Yep.
Hey, quarterbacks get real good between 32 and 34, 35-ish. Holy crap. We haven't seen him play his best ball yet.
Yeah.
That's just super real.
And that's where I struggle with this game too that's coming up here in a couple weeks, because it's kind of this thing that I feel like I've grown as a fan, where that 7th ring with Brady, I wanted it because I wanted to see this greatness thing. Like, right? And there's a part of me that's like, man, to see a three-peat would kind of be cool. We're like, because I don't really have a dog in this fight. Obviously, if I had to pick, I pick the Eagles to win this game. Like, that's who I want to win, because you're tired of seeing the winner. But also, I'm like, but I also could see a three-peat, and that's pretty dang cool.
Yeah, I think for me personally, I don't want the three-peat.
Sure.
Because as a Niner fan, almost got that once, and that would have been nice. I also have watched my team lose to this team twice in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
In recent years.
I don't have this villainy towards the Chiefs like someone like you would. I don't.
Oh yeah, no, don't get me wrong.
I don't like them. I don't want them to win, but
there's no good scenario here. The only thing good that happens is Saquon wins the Super Bowl, and the Giants look ridiculous.
That is why I want the Eagles to win is Saquon.
Yeah, that is the only reason that I want the Eagles to win. And it's a good enough reason because this is bad 1A, 1B for me. My 49ers do not like the Eagles.
Yep.
That's been proven. We don't get along. So, this is not going to be fun for me. I'm just going to be real. I know that a lot of America is I'm in it for the commercials this year. I'm mostly in it for the commercials this year and hopefully a good football game. I
Yeah,
always want that.
yeah.
But yeah, I just hope Saquon gets to hold the trophy. And I hope he's the MVP. Like, I really do. I hope he runs for 3, knocks down 200 yards, embarrasses the Chiefs.
Oh,
Uh,
I mean, I'd love it. I mean, a good run game might be the only thing. Just keep the ball
yeah.
away from him, like that's from Mahomes.
I'd love to see, and I hope you get to clip this, the Eagles win a 1-score game, and the deciding factor was Saquon getting one over the goal line.
Oh,
That's what I would love to see. So that happens. We're posting that on Monday. After the Super Bowl.
that's right.
Yeah. But no, I mean, we can do pick 'em on this next week. I think we got plenty of time to analyze it. I definitely want to get into lying season a little bit because holy cow, the head coach hires. And if you're unfamiliar with the term lying season, basically, as soon as the playoffs start, coaches be getting fired. Okay.
Well, it's Black
And,
Monday. That's the Monday after Super Bowl is Super Bowl end of the regular season. Black Monday. Sometimes it's the day of, like
true.
like Gerard Mayo got dumped. Like I don't even think he made it to the podium, bro, to the locker
He
room.
didn't. No. They were nice enough to let him come all the way home.
Dude, and they had like a 3-page paper like statement. So like that thing was written well before the game.
Good catch. Yep. I was gonna
Yeah.
say the same thing.
That was not written in the 20 minutes between the end of game and the announcement. So yep.
No, and dude, they let him go address the players and say goodbye and do all that credit, and then they told him.
Dude,
like he found. I mean, that was cold. That was cold.
Dude,
for that being one of your guys.
Yeah.
That was cold.
Especially from Robert Kraft, because he's loyal to his guys too. Like he loves his guys. Like when they're his guys.
Did Mayo tick them off this year?
Well, dude, just the stuff like him saying like once they cross onto the field, I can't help them. Like, are you kidding me? You're their coach.
Yeah.
Like making those weird comments. Like,
yeah, there was the report about him hanging out on the plane playing cards with the players rather than talking with the coaching staff after a sucky loss, like on the way back. Like he would go back and hang out with the players.
You do that when you win, dude.
Yeah, for sure. And there was just some things. I get that there was probably immaturity of the position. I get that they saw Mike Vrabel available and knew that he was interested. And that's where I want to start this discussion. But genuinely, that was pretty cold still. Regardless if you're going to move on from him, I don't think you do it like that. But the Patriots get Mike Vrabel after that one becomes open.
We knew it. That was obvious.
We called it forever ago.
We said that like when James and I were on. We're like, that was easy because that one happened right away. First one to go.
Yeah. This was 100. That's the least kept secret around the NFL. It seemed like everybody knew if they chose that, this is exactly what was going to happen, and it did. Love that though, because we are big Vrabel fans. He is a Patriot. I think this was honestly this should have been the plan. I would have loved to see Bill step aside and Vrabel go straight there. I don't know why that didn't happen in the first place personally. But good for them. Good fit. That said, don't want the Patriots return to glory because I don't need another decade of that garbage.
Well, and that was also like if we think about a lot of these positions, they're not attractive for a lot of different reasons. This one might have been the most attractive place because the ownership's good. I mean, this is the same ownership that created the dynasty.
Yeah.
And they have a promising quarterback. Like all these other places, like the Bears maybe have a promising quarterback. Still waiting on that, but that front office is abysmal and has been forever. So like if you look, this was literally the only spot that had like good ownership that you could consider good ownership out of all these spots, and we see more and more that that's what's important for the head coaches, because some crazy stuff happened with the Jaguars.
Bro,
since when have I ever? That was cringy, but dude, where have we ever seen like the owner go to the guy they want to hire and go, oh, well, we'll fire our GM if you'll take our job, if you'll take this job. And they did it.
But if there was one guy that deserved it, Trent Bulk is that guy.
Dude, well, yeah. Dude.
I've been, because I will preach this. I have been waiting to be on this show to talk about how, and before Bulk got fired, when they announced that they were moving on from Peterson and Bulk was staying, I lost my mind.
You texted us in our thread.
I was like, you have to be kidding me. This is the greatest injustice. This is a guy who fired Jim Harbaugh, a year just over a year after him being in a Super Bowl. Fired Jim Harbaugh.
For like a season, like it wasn't terrible. It was
And he
okay.
did it because when he was with the 49ers, I didn't include that part,
Yeah.
but like, and he did it because they were pissed that Jim Harbaugh wanted to run rookie minicamp instead of go to the dedication of Levi Stadium. Like they had
Yes.
planned the rookie minicamp months in advance. He had this whole process, and they're like, "We're going to do our stupid ceremony during the middle of your rookie minicamp," and everybody was like, "Why?" And they're like, "Well, that's when Trent wants to do it," and like that was
Also,
the only reason.
as the head coach, you're either to coach the players or sit in a seat and clap
Yeah,
when that ribbon gets cut. Like,
he
come
so
on.
he did. He played ball. He showed up. He went to the ceremony. He talked about, the recent success of the 49ers, his appreciation for ownership and staff and all that stuff. And he said, "Hey, guys, I got rookies over at the, right over here across the street. I got to get out of here, get over to the complex and go train them. Much love, everybody." And jetted. Like he played ball and they still fired him after that, which is insane.
Well, they
Given the
announced it
fact that
middle of
he had,
season, right?
yeah,
Where they pretty much like the rumors got out that he was going to be done.
yeah. And
Yeah.
but that's what started the whole like downward trend. Cause then he had the year where Kaepernick was hurt and, the knee
Kneeling.
and
Yeah.
all the stuff I don't want to talk about and waste my life with ever again. But all that crud happened and it piled on over a mediocre season. And they were like, well, you're gone. And it was just stupid. So this dude hires Tom Sula, Tom Sula, defensive line coach, career defensive line coach who formerly used to live out of his car even while coaching in the NFL. And they give him a shot, and then they hire Chip Kelly, and that goes completely sideways. That gets Bulk fired from the 49ers. Then he goes over to the Jaguars, and I think if you remember right, he hired Urban Meyer to be a head coach and had to fire him after that dude drank so much alcohol that he started kicking his players in the middle of practices and was hanging out with
Not
people that he was not married to
and
and very
not
publicly.
not flying with the team on return flights.
Yeah. Just,
Easily,
flying
that's the
private.
worst coaching hire maybe ever. Most
Oh,
embarrassing
my.
and dysfunctional, like of all time.
So bad.
Yeah,
It's top 3 in the NFL for sure. I mean, I'd have to think about some other ones to really get into that conversation, but these were the coaching decisions. Then he hires Doug Peterson. They
which
get
I
a
thought
bunch
was
of
a good.
mediocrity.
At
Yep.
the time, I did.
Yeah, well, because he's a great quarterback whisperer, but problematically, those guys don't know how to use draft picks because Trent Bulk is in charge.
Yeah,
I mean, like,
yeah.
dude, he kills teams and he's horrible with coaches. So when Liam Cohen's like goes in for an interview and he goes, "Yeah, I mean, I really like the opportunity, and I like horse face quarterback and all that, but the GM, he sucks. So I'm going to say no." And then they fire the dude. So you'll come coach the team. That's bad. Okay.
Pretty
That
awesome.
tells you
It's awesome headlines.
it's great headlines. But then Liam Cohen doing the back and forth. And I will say that a lot of people are like throwing him under the bus hard. And I'm not saying that he doesn't deserve some of that. But the bad thing that he did do was when he came back after they fired Bulk, he did not inform the team. He had not signed the contract that he had
Yeah, that was
verbally
going
agreed
around
to
that
with the Bucks.
he hadn't signed it. Pen was
Yep.
not to paper. So some
Yep.
people were really upset about that, but he officially had not signed it.
Yeah.
There's a little bit less smoke he deserves there, but
Yeah, and like that happens in the NFL. He's not the first guy to go
no.
back on a verbal agreement with a team. That's not that abnormal. It's a head coaching opportunity. And this
don't
dude
get
is
very
like
many of
39
those.
years old.
You don't get
Like,
many of those.
no, you got to jump when it's offered. I mean, Baker Mayfield threw his hat in support of Liam Cohen taking this job.
Yeah.
Like he told him, the offensive line told him, apparently they were down in the Bahamas hanging out after the season was over. Like a bunch of the team was.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go do this interview initially." And they're like, "Dude, no matter what, you gotta take that job. If they offer it to you, like, yeah, it sucks working with Bulk, but you gotta take it." Well, then he comes back home after that first interview, and there's like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna do it because of Bulk, because he's not gonna let me, have influence on player decisions."
Yeah.
And then they do all they do, and he does it. So I mean, the team, like everybody gets it, but it was a little weak. And the Bucks fans and staff were upset with him for the lack of communication. I get that, but outside of that, that's not that weird. This is normal. This is what they do. But
the weird was
goes,
the Duval.
Duval twice.
That was weird.
He
that
did
was
it
weird.
twice.
Yeah,
After you do that once, some staffer gets in your ear and goes, "Don't ever do that again."
Maybe that's going to be the next like Broncos country. That's going to be his thing as of every press conference. Duval. If you're
Duval.
going to do it, bro, you got to find a different way to say it. That's
Oh
not
my god,
like awkward.
dude.
Like,
The aura jokes today were solid.
yeah. Oh yeah.
The lack of aura was pretty great. I love that. I want to get some good ones though, before we go back to the bad ones, and the team that can't find anybody to coach them because they suck at handling money. But did it? I think the good B hire was Ben Johnson with the Bears. Filling out his staff was pretty solid. I mean, getting Dennis Allen as your DC.
Yeah.
They decided to retain Hightower as special teams. That's a unit that's been mixed review year to year, depending on their kicker situation.
Yeah.
But I like Ben Johnson here. Little shocked that he went in division after leaving the Lions.
Yeah. I mean, this was always a spot that I think if you were betting on it, this is probably where you think he would go.
Right.
Um, I just think that, I mean, you do get some excitement. I mean, I don't think that we've seen, like, I don't think this version of Caleb Williams is the final version of him.
Sure.
I think he's gonna be better. Again, we're not too high on him, but I think he can be a solid, top 15 quarterback. Like,
Ben Johnson makes people better.
yeah, he
Like he
made
just
like the Rams gave up on Jared Goff, and he's thrown for like the most touchdowns over the last 3 seasons over anybody else. Like,
bingo.
yeah,
Good
like
drop.
that can happen. So, I still think they do got talent on the offensive side of the ball. Apart from the O line, the O line is abysmal. Caleb Williams was the most sacked quarterback, like 63 this year. So they obviously need to make those address that. But yeah, I think it's a good fit overall. I think they need to go offense. That's
Yeah.
clearly where a lot of their talent is, and their young talent is, I should say.
Yeah.
So that makes sense to me.
Yeah, I love the Dennis Allen hire though. Got to say that like he is for being a terrible head coach. Um he is genuinely a great defensive coordinator.
Yeah,
And I think that this unit clearly has the talent, the young talent,
yeah,
to raise up and do something great. And they're a few draft picks away, maybe a signing here and there. But they've got pieces already, and so that unit just needs a little bit of an overhaul. And Dennis Allen's the right guy to do that. Grade it. The Aaron Glenn hire by the Jets.
C plus,
What'd you say?
C plus.
I was gonna go solid C,
Yeah, I think
but and
like
probably
this
better for
Lions.
Aaron Glenn. I mean,
Yeah, well, I mean, I I haven't seen much of the staff like what he's done, but like the Lions defense was never like we talked about it. Even like 2 years ago, where they're the NFC Championship against the Niners, the defense wasn't that good. Like
it was not that
that
good,
secondary was
but it
abysmal.
was yeah,
The
but it was
secondary
so
is
young.
terrible.
It was
Um,
so young.
and so there's
Like
been nothing about I think this is more of a. I mean, also we haven't seen this since the Eagles a couple years ago get their OC and DC poached from other teams, but I don't think the the Lions was it was the impressive thing about this team was never the defense, and I think this was more of like you were associated with something really good and impressive that this happened. That's kind of where I'm leaning of like they got some good pieces, Aiden Hutchinson, they got some solid stuff. Obviously, they played much better this year in terms of statistics. But yeah, there was nothing with the Lions. It was the first, second, or third thing you said about the Lions was never the defense. It was always Ben Johnson. It was always this running game. It was this O line. It was Jared Goff like being pretty much perfect in games, and Dan Campbell being gutsy. Like that's five things right there that if you describe like the Lions seasons and what it's been the last couple of years, there's not really anything about that defense other than Agent Hutchinson was like going on an insane pace before he unfortunately got injured this season. So I think it's like a C plus. I think he's been around good stuff, been around a good culture, been around a good culture builder, and that's what the Jets need more than some like defensive, genius. They need culture. So hopefully that's what he brings. How about you?
Yeah, I think honestly, I think it's like I said, it's a C. Um, overall, it doesn't feel like there's anything splashy about it. Like you said, I don't even know the staff that the dude's going to bring in. It's not a fun job, in my opinion. Woody Allen's one of the worst owners in the league.
No, I think he's the worst now. Like the Madden rating thing.
Well, there's a guy down in Carolina.
But okay, all right, that's fine. That's fine. I mean,
Bryce Young is
they're
the
1A,
only
1B.
yeah. Bryce Young's the positive down in that place. Well, and Hubbard's been playing ball when he's not injured, but
Yeah.
I got a couple great young weapons there. I love that Bryce Young, by the way, proved us wrong towards the end of that season. Played
Yeah.
some ball.
Yeah.
Had better season statistics than C.J. Stroud. I mean, I understand we got to look at the tape as a whole and see the moments when he got some of those, but
Yeah.
stats wise, did a great job. But no, I mean, yeah, Tepper's horrible. But Woody Allen sucks, and they're not going to be good as long as Woody Allen's controlling the team.
Woody Johnson.
What is? Oh, did I say Woody Allen?
Woody Allen also sucks.
Woody Allen's also one of the worst. I mean, that's accurate. He's a terrible human being.
Just don't have that name.
That's just Matt messing up names like usual. It's fine. Glad we're back to normal.
Yeah, that's right.
But legit, like, yeah, that's a dumpster fire of a scenario. I mean, you got a few good guys that you're working with. I mean, I can't imagine that Aaron Rodgers wants to work with Aaron Glenn. I cannot believe that that's going to be the combo. I can't believe that Devonta would want to stay.
Well, and there's rumors that Garrett Wilson might be on the trade block.
Dude,
like that's come up a couple times for some of these teams, like a Chargers who need a wide receiver.
Crazy. I mean,
I want to get out of there. If I was Garrett Wilson, I'd be like, yes, I want to trade.
Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't? Like I get that.
Well, and also I'm looking at their staff right now, so they don't have a defensive coordinator right now. Maybe they're gonna forgo that.
Maybe Glenn's just gonna do that.
But Nathaniel Hackett is still on their website as their offensive coordinator.
No, there's like so many people who do better at that job.
Yeah, a lot of people could.
Like all of the people. But I mean, that's that. Yeah, I would think that when you make that decision, that cues Aaron Rodgers. Like that's a boom boom.
Well, yeah, at least
Rodgers goes, Hackett goes, Rodgers goes.
Yeah, you at least know that they're not going to stick with Rodgers.
Yeah,
if Hackett goes first.
Sure, and Glenn's probably got to take time to assess if the Aaron Rodgers situation is salvageable and do his due diligence there. I mean, we're making some assumptions, obviously from our perspective as couch potatoes, Sunday football watchers, but like. Yeah,
Aaron Rodgers, I think he did end up throwing for 4,000 yards and 28 touchdowns. So it wasn't as bad as it started. He ended better. But I just think the headache is just too much at this point.
Not worth it.
Like he's a terrible teammate at this point. Like he just is.
Yeah,
like, he's a terrible locker room and for the locker room.
I don't disagree. I think it's pretty obvious, and yeah, you're watching a has-been at this point. In your locker room, and I credit the stats that you're or to your credit about those stats that you're naming there, the 4,028 TDs. Dude doesn't lead a team, can't win late games, clearly can't do it with his arm anymore. And
legs.
And you don't have legs at all. Everybody knows that. So I just don't know what we're looking at that says that's a marriage, that's destined for any kind of future. But that one was a bummer. In terms of just, it's going to be doomed from the start, and that's until Woody hands over control. I mean, and hopefully not to his kids. We're teenagers, by the way.
Yeah,
we've been over this.
Yeah,
that was a great clip.
Oh, it's so good.
But no, like going down the list though, then we got three real not greats. And I'm going to say the best of them is definitely Pete Carroll going to Oakland.
I'm going to push back.
Oakland, dang it, I did it again.
Las Vegas. I think out of what was available, I think Pete Carroll was absolutely better than any of these other. Like, but it's
not better than a B minus.
I would say it's a B. Because dude, with the Raiders, just like the Jets, they need a culture guy. That culture is rotted. And everywhere Carroll's gone has made great culture that the players love. And that's what they need more than anything else. They need a dude who will grown up, who will make decisions. And Pete Carroll will absolutely do that and turns around cultures. And that's what they needed. They didn't need some mastermind scheme guy. They needed someone who was an adult, who would make the decisions that need to be made and get the players to play hard. That's what they needed.
I don't disagree with it. When I saw the hire, I sent it to the two individuals in my life that are big Raider fans, and I said, "Well, boys, what do we think?"
Hmm.
And the elder of those two replied, "All right, now all they got to do is find some Skittles and get Marshawn to follow the trail back to
Dude.
the facility." And he's
Yeah,
like, "Let's go, run it back."
he was, dude. Did you see it? He was at the press conference and screamed Raiders.
Yeah,
Like,
he did. Yeah, he did.
yeah,
That dude's so pumped that Pete Carroll went there.
yeah. No,
I
I
can't
think
wait for
it's
the commercials. Can't
oh,
wait for
that'd be
them.
great. I do think it's a good hire because again, what the Raiders need, I this whole age thing with Pete Carroll, like just look at it. It doesn't really apply to him. Like this
He's
dude is
probably going to
act
live forever.
yeah, he's in great shape. He's high energy, always has been. Like I don't think that that's as big of a deal. Like even when the Seahawks were struggling on their defense, they still won 9 games. You tell me the Raiders wouldn't take 9 games right now?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, I just look at where they've been and what they
Yeah.
need, and this is what they need. They need a guy that will change culture, make it a desirable place for players to come play, and they'll play hard.
Yeah, I loved it that they were realistic. Everybody was,
Hmm.
and said 3 years with a fourth option. Loved it.
Yeah.
I did love the contract. When
Yep.
I heard that, because I was like, oh no, are they going to
Yeah.
be
If he signs a
stupid and give
five
a
year, 6
70 something
year,
year old?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, like keys to the castle and be paying him, 10 or 12 million dollars, whatever it is, like in the fifth and 6 year option for no reason.
yeah.
Like, but no, it was a great contract. I think that speaks towards the intentionality of the hire. This dude's down for one more gig as the CEO of a football team,
Yeah.
and they're probably going to name a coach in waiting going into the second year. I think he'll see what he's got on the staff that he brings in,
Hmm.
and hopefully set somebody up. I think that's a cool move. I don't. I mean, I think it's good for football. I think it's good for. I think football's better with Pete Carroll in it. I'm, as even a hater of Seahawks and the USC Trojans that
Hmm.
I am. I think he's still great. And
He's a good guy.
I think, yeah, he's good for football. Period. And I know that the way he'll run it is just different than others, and that's what I talked to those two people about it again in my life of the Raiders. They were like, like he's going to make football fun for us. I think that he'll put a good product on the field, but he's going to let the coaches coach,
Hmm.
and he's going to manage the personalities and the flow of the game, and and really elevate everybody. And he's like, and that's what they really liked. And also his teams traditionally do not overspend, and the Raiders, as bad as they have been overspending.
Hmm.
And I think the last thing they mentioned that I thought was a great point was that this becomes attractionary again. The Raiders
Seattle
can be a
was.
place that people want to play. People would like to play on that defense, but they don't want to right now because the offense is so bad. And I think that Pete will infuse some life onto that side of the ball by managing that roster really well, the way that he's known to do. And then you'll see the outcome there when it on the field next season. I don't think that 9 wins is a stretch. I mean,
I'm not saying they're gonna get that. I'm saying that's
I don't.
like he
Yeah,
brings winning seasons. Like that's what he does.
yeah, it's going to be tough in that division. That is, I expect that to be in the regular season the toughest division in football
Oh yeah.
for
And it's
sure.
also the most now experienced head coaches like coached. It might be
By far,
the best coach division, like in terms of what like history
I
and
don't think you got to say
accolades.
might. I don't
Yeah,
think you got to say might. There are,
there's usually one weak link in terms of a coach in every division,
all four of those coaches have coached in Super Bowls.
and I think all of them have. Oh no,
All of them but Harbaugh have
yeah,
won one.
but
So
he's won a national championship.
fair. Yeah. And Harbaugh brings winning culture. We saw that you
Yeah,
mentioned the turnaround with the Chargers. Um, obviously there, but like, yeah, that's going to be a tough division,
yeah,
and Pete will be good in it. I thought it was a B minus higher, and I know you said, hey, the age thing shouldn't apply. I think it's a B minus higher because it's a stopgap,
yeah.
and it might be a really good one, but it's still a stopgap. So it's a B minus for me. But of the available options, like as you pointed out, good move there. I want to talk about an abysmal one because it brings joy to my heart.
Real quick though.
Oh, you got one?
No. I just want to say, and we get to see Harbaugh and Carroll 2 times a year again. These guys hate each other.
They do hate each other.
They've hated each other in the
Pete Carroll
Pac-12.
doesn't hate a lot of people. Jim Harbaugh is a pretty like energetic,
Hmm.
positive guy most of the time.
Yeah.
but those dudes stare each other down from sideline to sideline. That meet
and
in the middle
Harbaugh,
first round.
Oh, well, and Harbaugh's
awesome.
definitely like mellowed out since coming back. Like those years in college,
Sure.
like he's not as like when he was the Niners, he was screaming at refs like all the time. Like he's definitely mellowed out. He's more like
you wanted that guy to be your coach, but you hated that guy.
Yeah,
if he wasn't.
I think Harbaugh's mellowed out. But like Pete Carroll would take shots at him when he was in college, saying like he's not coaching the NFL anymore. Like after he was, this is like not relevant to Pete Carroll anymore, and he'd make comments about it. Like they do not like each other, and so I am going to tune in to that handshake after their first meeting and see what
grab
happens.
The popcorn, kids. That is going to be good TV. That's a good mention.
Yep.
But like I said, I want to get to one that brings joy to my heart because I genuinely hate the Dallas Cowboys, and Jerry Jones is the owner that giveth. I mean, so much to all of us.
Dude,
you're letting go of a guy who very well might make it into the Hall of Fame. I'm not saying Mike McCarthy is the greatest coach of all time, but he very well could be a Hall of Fame coach. That's a Super Bowl winning coach. Won a lot of games in the NFL.
You cannot deny it's a possibility.
And you are saying that guy is the problem and not you handing out paychecks like they were coupons for a free drink on ladies' night? Like, what are we doing?
Oh,
I cannot believe that they hired Schottenheimer to replace that guy.
And we saw the report, and we're like, no, they're not going to do that. That's not happening. That's not. They did it. No way. Oh, it is awesome. So awesome.
He is the president that continues to give. He gives. Jerry Jones just gives and gives and gives. And the Dallas Cowboys are doomed to suck forever. Dak better ask to get traded. That team's going to be horrible. Clip it. Post this right now.
They're going to be
let it live forever. They're going to suck.
They're going to be the exact same team they were this year.
Yeah, because dude, their division is getting better. Like there's two teams that I don't think they can beat next year. I think the Commanders are going to be almost unstoppable.
Eagles aren't going anywhere.
And the Eagles are going zero places. They got Saquon under contract, bro.
Most of their guys are under contract or on their rookie deal still.
Yep, they are locked up. I mean, they paid Hurts. They got him for another 3 years after this. They have an offensive line that is getting better. I mean, they were rotating centers on Sunday, and we're still dominating.
Jalen Carter's probably the best defensive lineman right now. Like, he's insane.
Top 5.
He's insane.
Yep.
And he's going to get better.
Dude's borderline unblockable.
Yeah. Oh,
it's ridiculous what they're letting happen.
And the Giants are going to be the Giants, so that's one thing. So whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Who cares? They suck.
But wow, dude, Schottenheimer hasn't even he's only flashed as an OC.
Sure.
He's flashed.
Little.
He helped Russ have his best career statistically, but that offense fell apart at the end of that year. That Russ had his 40 touchdown, almost MVP like season. But that's
been a minute.
That 2020.
Yeah, that's been a minute, and we're 4 years removed from you having the best season of your career as an OC, and here's a freaking job. Like, we're just it's free. There's so much that comes with being a head coach in the NFL, and I understand that there's a family tradition behind that name. I totally get it, but dude, you don't get NFL head coaching jobs off daddy's name. That's not how this works. That's just stupid. But it's the most Jerry Jones garbage to just be like, will you say yes to everything I say? Or are you just going to do exactly what I want you to do? You are? Awesome. Here's the job.
There's not a man with less awareness than Jerry Jones.
No, that dude doesn't know anything. It literally has come down to that. He is so and when I say he doesn't know anything, he does not know anything about himself. He doesn't know that we can all predict the stupidity. He just is so unaware. We know you're going to do something dumb. And sometimes you even amaze us.
Yeah, like hiring a failed OC in multiple places as your head coach with no coaching experience.
And then allowing that guy to hire the 49ers defensive coordinator that just got fired and replaced by Robert Saleh to be your special teams coordinator.
Right. I don't hate the Eberflus hire. I'll say that.
Yeah, I don't hate the Eberflus hire either.
He's been a good DC. He'll be fine with that.
Yeah,
and that'll be an upgrade.
And that's probably the area they needed to improve the most. That and whatever's going on with their medical training staff because they can't keep guys on the field. Let's fire all of them. There's been multiple teams that have done that in recent years. After all their guys end up on the IR, my own team included. But Sorensen getting that hire, I was just like, well, that's a great follow up to them hiring Schottenheimer.
It tracks completely. It also doesn't make sense that they made a good hire in a DC. It almost doesn't make sense. But they
paid him a ton though. I will say he's getting a high coordinator money.
Eberflus is?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean he's a good DC.
But I think he's making like top 3 coordinator money. I mean we're talking like I think it's Spags and oh my gosh, Sala. Sala's apparently going to get like head coach money.
Yeah, well, Spags deserves all the money every dollar he wants, he should get, and he deserves it.
Yep. Well, I mean, yeah. If Ben Johnson was still coordinating, he'd be the highest paid offensive coordinator in the league. But I think those really are they're going to be the top 2 this next year, and then the Eberflus could be 3rd or 4th.
Yeah.
Interesting that the highest paid guys are on the defensive side of the ball, right?
Yeah. Well, look, I don't even hate Schottenheimer as OC. Like he's been a lot of places.
No,
he's okay. He's okay. He's competent.
Yeah.
But head coach, man. Mm-hmm. I was like in his 50s, and now he's getting the head coach job. There's a reason the dude has been in the league for as long as he has multiple high-end OC positions.
Yeah.
Has not been a head coach.
I will give him one piece of credit though. He did not go to a microphone and say, Duval.
Yeah, you in there.
He didn't do that. No, I know I'm missing one. What's that last one on our rundown? My bad. It's just out of my head. I don't have it.
No, I mean, the last one is the Saints not hiring someone yet.
Right. That's our last hit, which is not a surprise to us because, as I mentioned at the top of the segment, they don't have any money. They have $0. They have zero money dollars.
The report was McCarthy at one point, but then that's now fizzled out. Apparently the interviews didn't go well. Don't know why. The report is that McCarthy's going to look at 2026. For the next hiring cycle.
Do a Vrabel year, dude.
Yeah.
You don't need to do anything.
Yeah, there's going to be 6. There's 6 every year, man. Every year there's 6.
You did say that. I remember the text thread. You were like, wonder who the 6th one's going to be. We were just waiting for that last.
The Colts position's probably going to be open. I don't think Shane Steichen's staying.
Are you not surprised that didn't happen this year?
No, because of the
all
rookie
that happened
no.
with AR, with him like, I need to play off, and they didn't barbecue him publicly for that. By the way, don't understand why they didn't.
Yeah,
you need to barbecue your quarterback for that and discipline him.
Yeah, well, also, what's his face? He's not. Irsay's a kind of a moron too as an owner.
That's fair. They're also a self-unaware human being.
Yeah. So the Colts job's probably going to be open. There's a good chance a Carolina job could be open. Just depends on how that goes with Bryce Young. Hopefully that goes well. There's going to be some of those that are going to be on the hot seat already to start. I'm kind of blanking on some. Miami might.
Yeah.
Miami might.
Yeah.
I think Mike McDaniel's been great for an OC and would be a dynamite OC. But as a head coach, there's some major issues with that team that have continued. That team's not tough. That team
doesn't beat good teams ever, and legitimately probably gotten a pass because of what's happened to his quarterback. And him not knowing how to run with a football in his hands and not die.
And you just see how this team melts down when they don't have Tua.
Yeah,
there's no coaching elevating that's happening with their players. So there'll be some good spots. I think that'll be open. I think more desirable. So I think McCarthy's probably going to get something next year.
So there's a couple of names that we're probably both surprised, and I know one specifically that did not get long looks in this coaching cycle, and I think that it has to do probably with what was open more than it does with the individual, because best job available being the Patriots, and Mike Vrabel being out there, everybody kind of knew that's going to be a thing. I'm a little surprised that Brian Flores didn't get a long look in Chicago.
Yeah.
Now, I understand Chicago has a whole bunch of weapons right now. Whole bunch. It's an offensive league. Blah, 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 blah.
But that defense played well, too. They got pieces on defense too.
But Brian Flores turned around one of the worst defensive units in the league. They certainly had one of the worst secondaries in the league in Minnesota, and with a whole bunch of young dudes and a veteran or two that he really put into a great system fit, made that a literal top five defense. I mean, he let go of his best pass rusher in the offseason. And with two dudes that you and I couldn't have picked them out in a lineup, never heard their last name, replaced and then some the sack total that they had gotten production out of from an all pro the year before in Hunter. So like I thought he just should be up. And due to the fact too that he'd already in my opinion, done a good job as a head coach in getting a 9-win season out of that Miami team we just mentioned.
Yeah.
Before that weird crap happened with all the ownership group and he got scapegoated. But but like I just thought Flores should get a long look. Would have loved to see him maybe with the Raiders. Thought that might be a good one. But apparently, dude's looking for a different situation.
I think that's smart, man. If like these owners are nuts, man. These GMs are morons. Like you got to find the spot that fits you. Like I think I almost texted it. Like I think he's pulling a Ben Johnson where he's like, I'm just gonna wait. I'm sticking one more year. Seeing what's out there because that's what Ben Johnson did. Everyone thought he might get hired last year, and he was the one guy that ended up not being stuck around. And then I don't really remember what was available last year, but probably got to a better position in terms of the team and talent.
I think in the 2 years, this was probably the best interview he was going to get. He was rumored if the Cowboys would have moved on last year to be up for that position. If they would have moved on from McCarthy at the time, that was a big rumor that floated. I think this is a good fit overall. Just surprised it happened and that he went in division the way it did. The other guy that we've always kind of wondered, but I get it in one sense, is why is Spags not getting a shot? Like this is a Hall of Fame defensive. He's going to make it into the Hall of Fame as a defensive coordinator. Is he just not an overview guy? Does he love that second chair? That has to be it, right?
Well, there's reports that there are guys that do, like Chip Kelly, for instance, right? He's had success at Ohio State, and he's enjoyed, like it's been come out and said that he's enjoyed just sitting there and calling plays and creating plays.
Well, he said, quote unquote, I'll never say never, but to be honest, I love being an offensive coordinator, and that's really where my heart is.
Well, and I feel like, I mean, obviously, I'm no football genius, and I don't pretend to be, but like, I kind of would probably just prefer if I love football, I want to just be somebody who just calls some football plays. I don't have to deal with any of the politics of being a head coach. I don't got to deal with any of that stuff. I just get to like sit there every week with my 11 guys, and I just get to like hang out with them, figure out one thing, and do that one thing really well, as opposed to having my hand in multiple different things. So maybe he's just that guy, but also we had said this with Bieniemy. Like Bieniemy was a guy that we thought was gonna when that offense was rolling. Now it turns out we figured out maybe he's not that much of a character guy. Maybe he is purely just a play caller kind of guy.
Sure.
But I also just think his respect. Like I don't know. Maybe because like I'm content to just winning Super Bowls as a DC.
I mean, yeah, when you're playing in February, literally almost every year.
I don't know if I want to.
Just the better gig, and honestly, he's taking a huge paycheck. Like I think he's over $5 million a year as a coordinator.
So you make $5 million, you win Super Bowls like nothing, and you have less responsibility.
Yeah, because
you're in a small market.
There are head coaching jobs, Carolina included, right now, where they're not paying you over $4 million a year. So I get that, I guess, that you're technically making head coach money, depending on the scenario and doing it. But he did interview. I will say that he did get 2 interviews. I think one was the Jags. I think he interviewed with the Bears. So it wasn't like he didn't get a shot to talk to people about it. But it's been really interesting. The last 3 cycles, his name comes up a ton. Is like, hey, wouldn't you want? And then nothing. And he's probably
is there a more qualified? Is there a more qualified coordinator?
No. That's my point. No.
Yeah.
There isn't. There really isn't. I think he's absolutely proven that he could get it done from the perspective of he could just build you a defense. I mean, there is no better defensive play caller in the league
Yeah.
than that guy.
Well, I mean,
Period.
you just look at, I mean, this is just talking about my team, but like, oh, that's all Mike McDonald does. I mean, he runs the men, like he's a leader of men, but like
Yeah.
defense is all his, and he's got offensive guys that take care of that. Like
Yeah, and you
you
can
can do
you
that.
can clearly coach. Lovie Smith did that for a long time,
Hmm.
with great success as well. Many 10-win seasons there in his long run with the Bears and Super Bowl, mind you.
Yep.
But yeah, I've just kind of wondered that. I think really valid point on Spags as the play caller in a moment of brilliance before we move on from it. But like that 4th and 1 where they come in and on the blitz there, or not 4th and 1, sorry, the drop by Kincaid.
Hmm.
They sent the house on that last play. Um, they had options on a quick out, and Josh Allen didn't check out of it when he
Hmm.
saw the press coverage come up because Spags held the press until under 5 seconds, knowing that Allen was going to try and survey the entire offense and probably go up under that the 5 second mark there because he didn't have the clock ticking on him at that point from the 2 minute warning. So legit, like he did not throw the press on until after the 5 second marker, and then these dudes are 1 yard off wide receivers going into that, and the house blitz comes, and he had no choice. Allen didn't, but to make the throw that he did, I
Yeah.
just thought that was brilliant. I was like, dude, you didn't show press. You didn't worry. You just left your safeties high, didn't show press. And you were like, no, you're going to have to make the best throw of your life to
Yeah.
get out of this. And that rainbow that he threw to Kincaid was just about that. Minus
Yeah.
Kincaid coming down with it. I just love watching him in moments. As much as I hate watching the Chiefs win, I do love his brilliance. I also, by the way, in watching that Mahomes rushing touchdown, I was
Hmm.
sitting there
Yep.
next to my wife and I'm watching that. It's being great play calling, and I saw Kelsey in the backfield and Hunt go into motion from they were Kelsey and Hunt were on each side of Mahomes there in shotgun, and then Hunt goes right behind him, and I literally tell my wife, "This is going to be a run play to the right. I don't know who's keeping it, but they're going to score." And she's like, how do you? And I was like, because Andy Reid is going to put somebody in motion to the left, and the entire line is going to go that way. And there's going to be some dude that pulls out of it, with the exception of one of them. And I was like, because this is what he does. He makes you chase stupid things. Seriously, 4 linemen go blocking to the left, one pulling guard out to the side, Mahomes behind Kelsey after Hunt takes off to the left out of that weird shotgun pistol thing, and legit like goes taking off. And I'm like, there we go. I didn't see Mahomes keeper coming. I really didn't. Thought it was going to be Hunt with Kelsey running to the left if I had to bet on it. But dang, what a great play call. Stupid brilliant. And when you get inside the red zone, because of the confined space there, if you can get the majority players on the other side, like they did, they ended up getting 6 to the left that right side open with just 5. You're one-on-one blocking the whole way through.
Good luck.
It was stupid brilliant, and Kelsey just had to tap somebody to get Mahomes in.
It is such a coaching mismatch with everybody else. Like having Spags and Andy Reid, it is just unfair.
Oh, dude,
You can't.
seriously, like Mahomes is going to need to throw 2 picks, or a ball's going to have to go off of somebody's hand, in this game for that to happen anyway. And the Eagles are going to have to like not turn the ball over at all. Period.
Well, yeah, the Chiefs beat you by making you play perfect. That's
Yep.
how that's how they can beat you, which is such
And,
a weird way to say it, but that's how they do it.
but to your point right there, that's literally what the Eagles have done, and that's why this matchup's going to be interesting
Hmm.
because after Psycho shaved his head.
Well, I'll talk about it. I know Jameson has his hater takes on Nick Sirianni, but honestly, bro,
I
like
know.
I he has been to 2 Super Bowls in 4 years. His 4 years as head coach.
Preach.
That's not nothing. He has actually the highest winning percentage, I think. Um, I think even aside from Andy Reid, like winning percentage of his ever since he's been head coach, I
Yep.
believe.
You are
Um,
correct. No,
so like,
you're 100% correct, and he does have, I would say, top 2 GM in the league.
yeah. Well,
Certainly the GM of the year. Howie Roseman needs that one.
Yeah.
You got to give it to him.
So in 4, I have it here. In 4 years, Nick Sirianni has made Super Bowl twice, made the playoffs every year, 53-23 record, highest winning percentage among active head coaches at .706. Apparently, that's
Ooh.
higher than Andy Reid.
Well, yeah, that makes sense though. That does track. Remember, they didn't necessarily win a ton of games because last year we were like, oh, is the rain over? You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
um,
So
and
like,
yeah, it makes
you
sense.
you look at that, I'm like, I can't say he's a bad head coach. Like,
Nope,
you can't.
he's
So
crazy. We're
yeah,
not
he's
wrong about that.
he's
He's a
weird.
psycho.
He's weird,
I
but
mean,
it
yeah.
translates to winning games. So if
I,
I was an Eagles fan, I'm taking that every day. I'll take
I
a
mean,
psycho coach. I
dude,
mean,
like,
he represents Philly. Let's just put it that way.
yeah, yes, he does. And for the love of God, to all the Philadelphia fans out there, stop climbing things. Stop it. That dude might die.
I
Like,
know.
stop
I
climbing.
know.
You people don't have enough forest around you to where that's an expert skill that you possess. Also, it's all ice right now.
Yeah.
It's what are you doing? Stay on the ground. Just stay on the ground. Stay inebriated. Stay on the ground. Keep yourselves warm. And please, for the love of God, don't let them get a three-peat. But also, stay on the ground. No, that's wild what they do out there. No, I think, man, the next 2 weeks are going to be telling of so many things. Can't wait for I know we aren't talking awards tonight, but can't wait for that.
Yeah. Probably do that
Um,
next week.
yep. I mean, offensive player of the year is a lock.
Yep. Yep. Oh yeah. What are you talking about? Yeah.
Saquon's getting it.
Yeah. Saquon
I
should win MVP, bro. That's my pick. That should
I
be my
don't.
pick.
I do not disagree with you. I know. I was real firm on Josh Allen. I think that MVP, and I know this isn't fair because you're like, well, you got to vote on what everybody did in the regular season. You can't add stats
Bro,
when teams win games.
look at the full body of work, bro.
Ah, come on. I
It's a
want
full
it to be
season.
part of the discussion.
It's a
I
full
really.
season. Yeah. Like I also hate how stats don't like all stats don't include postseason. What do you mean? It's a game.
Yeah.
Like it's a football game that you're playing in a season that should count towards your overall stats. Like what?
I do appreciate that. I do appreciate that your that postseason stats are widely considered now in contracts. I think that
Yeah.
players absolutely deserve that because
Yeah.
your performance in the postseason should matter, 100%.
Yeah.
There is a significant difference, in play from one guy to the next. I mean, like Lamar Jackson, like you got to own that. You got to own that you don't get it done when it matters.
Should
And
yeah.
it's been brutal some years to watch that with him. And we're like, oh, he'll get better as he gets
I
older.
want him so bad. I want him so bad to
He's
get it
great.
done.
He
Yeah.
is great, but he cannot do it when you need him to do it the most. And you've got to own that. He has the best offense that he has had as an NFL quarterback, clearly the best run game he may ever have. I know you can't count on the freak being that good again next year in King Henry, but
You can't count on it on any year going forward just with his age.
yeah, I mean, he's on the wrong side of 30. Like
Yeah.
he's an NFL running back, and I know he is a specimen. And as we saw in his,
Father Time is still undefeated though
yeah, always. But I mean,
at that position.
he may get a couple extra years though, because
Oh yeah.
dude, we saw in that stat or the rundown Jameson sent us about his average or his highest speed. I'm not saying that right. His highest MPH on a run.
Mhm.
Every year he's literally down like .06 from what he was 6 years ago. This season, that's insane. There's
That's
no running back that's been doing that post 30, keeping up with their speed from 6 years ago. But legit, like you can't count on that go every year going forward. And for him to just not get it done with a great defense, stupid good linebacking crew, and in my
last year.
opinion,
Yeah.
top three safety in the league in Kyle Hamilton, definitely the most opportunistic safety in the league,
Ball hawk.
playmaker. But like that's just a shame. So I yeah, you gotta factor some of that stuff in when you look at all of it. And I understand he's been a regular season hero. And you look at Josh Allen, you're like, well, what's he done? And I just, he's getting farther. I will give him that. If we're just doing it
Yeah.
by who makes it to the Super Bowl, then just one guy gets it every year. But Saquon full on made it happen for that team this year, and I think was the best player on the field given the entire body of work. All
This
he did
season,
was
yeah.
score 3 touchdowns.
No, when they do
this week.
when they do the top 100 players of the year thing they do every year, like in this offseason, it's gonna be him. He's gonna be one.
Don't hate it.
It's gonna be him.
Don't hate it.
Like
Yeah,
he was the single greatest player this season.
I like
And
that.
also, historically, he has the fifth most rushing yards ever. So this is a historic season. It could have been the historic season if he played in the last game of the season, but chose not to.
Yeah, because if you're gonna put McCaffrey into that after the season he had prior,
Yeah.
like if you're gonna put him into that spot,
Yeah, the
I mean,
thousand.
fair,
Yeah,
fair.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fair. And
Like,
the 20 plus touchdowns, all that stuff. Like,
yeah.
yeah, that's pretty fair to say that of Saquon too. I hope he wins Offensive Player of the Year. I hope he wins MVP. I think he's gonna win Offensive Player of the Year. Hope
Yeah.
he wins MVP.
That's a lot.
I'll be, the DPOTY. That one seems up.
Mm.
You go a couple directions with that because you had a dude finish with a ton of interceptions this year, which they don't necessarily reward. Your sacks leaders weren't insanely high for that statistic, at least.
Defensive
Lot of
rookie of the year
defensive.
is going to be Verse
Yeah,
from Rams. That's a lock.
bro, what a beast!
Yeah.
Dear Lord, that was a treat getting to watch him in the playoffs.
Yeah, and then Jane Daniels for rookie. You know,
Yeah,
we'll have this talk.
we'll talk about it next week. But I mean, it's just a lot of cool stuff coming up. Super Bowl week's pretty fun. Can't wait to see all the interviews next week. That'll be hilarious. Because the guests that come on shows and the former players that tell stories,
Dude, it's like a
we love
Rolodex of random people that just show up and talk on sports networks. It's awesome.
I love it. I love it. We're here for all of it. We're excited, to see where so many storylines go. Be pre Super Bowl. We're definitely going to do our pick 'em for Super Bowl, but we're going to do a little different. We're going to get our bingo cards out.
Ooh.
Yep, and we're gonna have some fun with that. We're gonna do the prop bets and have some fun with our national anthem, for instance. Commercials, blah blah blah, like popular commercial companies, all that kind of stuff. We'll get out the whole thing. Play prop bets next week as part of it, and then we will still be doing some postseason episodes and content and continuing the discussion because lying season is super fun. We love the draft. We'll be looking forward to that episode. So Sportsify is not going anywhere. If
That's
anything,
right.
we're here for all of it. And our episodes will be a little bit less when postseason time comes, but we'll still be sticking around. We got plenty to clip out and plenty to remind you that while we are just a couple of dumb fans who talk to cameras,
Yes.
we're right a lot.
Yes.
Like a lot.
There's a reason we decided to do this. It wasn't just because we think we know things. We do know things.
We know things. Yeah. We have a magic 8 ball, and we're going to use it. So
we also annoyed all of our friends, so we decided to do this.
Yeah, this is way more fun. Now they can just ignore us and choose to watch it when they want to, and that's fine.
It's a win-win for everybody.
It's a win-win for everybody. So enjoy the pre-Super Bowl push this week. We'll be here for our prop bets and all the fun next week, do our pick 'em and everything. Hopefully Jameson will be back on with us, and we might even I'm working on a guest for next week. I think it's somebody that we'd love to bring back. So we'll see how that goes. All right. We'll see you guys this next week, and have a great time watching this stupid Pro Bowl.
Ugh. Peace.
Bye-bye.